I'm going to start.
Great. Over to Mark.
So this is ftrack. It's a bit like Shotgun if you've used that before. What we're going to be using it for is tracking tasks that are assigned to artists and reviewing things. So this is kind of the main project window. To be honest, it's probably only production that are going to use this view, but it's an option if you want to view things like this. The kind of hierarchy we're using is that there's a project, and then in that project there's multiple episodes, and then inside an episode, so I'll go to 112, there are shots. So it goes project, episode, shot, and then within, so if you look at shot 1A, within that shot there's a folder for the department. So shot 1A could have 3 folders in it, a background, a props, and a character one, but at the moment it's just got background. I'll try and find, do you know if there's a shot with more in it?
Yeah.
Just
scroll down, it will show you 112, 112.
Are these going to get populated by production? Kind of
Yes.
stuff you guys got, right, probably.
So then within a folder there are things called tasks. Let me find a nicer one that's done. Alright, so in that background folder there's 2 tasks, keyline and key color, and they have task statuses and assignees. So that's kind of the main function that we're going to be using, and that's where things get put in. So you don't put the task at shot level, you put it in a folder, and then all the shots go into an episode. And you can ignore the little sort of diamond things. They're just like production deadlines, so you can ignore those.
They are very important, though.
They're really important, but you don't need to click on them or change them. There's a couple of annoying things that you'll probably learn very quickly. If you want to change the title of something, you have to double click on it, and then it lets you type on things. Same for changing the status, you've got to double click to do that. Same for assignees, double click, and then you can put in who you want to assign it to. So if I want to assign that to Ed, actually I can't assign the shot. You have to assign the task, not the shot. So that's a good distinction to know, that the things you're assigning are tasks, not shots. So that you're just assigning what you want the person to do in that shot, rather than
You can actually assign the folder, but we don't want to use that function.
Yeah. So I'm going to do a little test so that you guys kind of understand how it would work. Also what I want to show you, if you just want to look at one episode, you select it on this bar on the left, and then you just see things for one episode. If that's easier and you don't want to see all the episodes that are finished, because that's kind of a bit of a mega view. So if production had made an FX task, for example, it would appear here. Actually, I will just make a new one. So you go create, folder, and then we select a template, which is the FX task. You won't have to do any of this bit, it's what production do. And then I'd call that like shot 002. Okay. So then the asset within it, automatically it's set to be not ready, and that means it doesn't appear to the artist. So that's when like production is setting it up. When it's ready for an artist to start, production will change it to ready to start and put in an assignee. So I'm going to put in Ed.
Yeah, take that, come on.
So from a production view, that's how they assign people tasks. So for shot 2 in an episode, there's a task that we want Ed to do, so we've assigned it. Then if I bring up this is signed in as Ed, so I'm going to put a little thing up. There you go. So that's the manager view that we were just in, assigned a task, and then this is the artist view. So when Ed signs in to ftrack, he gets a list of his tasks. This is in the task view, which you get to by clicking My Tasks at the top. So before, in the manager one, we were in project view, but now we're in task view. So Ed has a lot of not started tasks because he's never signed in before. But what he'll get when we assigned him the shot, when that manager assigned him a shot, you get a notification that you've been assigned to something in there. You can turn those off if they get annoying. If you go to like your settings up here in the top right, there's my account, and then you can change what notifications you get depending on what you want. So he's just been assigned.
You need to save it.
Oh yeah, I need to save this. Yeah, that's an important thing. So, like Google Drive saves all your changes automatically, you also need to enable that in ftrack, otherwise it doesn't do it. So the first time you sign in, go up to this little save icon. This bit's really important, the little save disk, and just tick Save Changes Automatically. Then everything you do, like Google Drive, will update automatically across everything. So now that I've saved that and the task has been assigned to Ed, it should appear in his not started bit. You have new notifications. He's been assigned to it. All right. So then, from Ed's point of view, if he's ready to work on this shot, I'll show you a little timesheet thing you can do if you want to, but I don't think you have to. It's got this time logger. So if you select the task and then say that you've started working on it, it'll like log how many hours you're working on a thing. You don't have to do that, but but that's a function if you want it to be. The main thing you've got to do is drag it from your not started column into the in progress column, and then that sets the status to whip work in progress and tells the manager that you're working on it. So Ed has finished this task really quickly in like 32 seconds. Then what Ed would do is go into the task by clicking on if you click where it's blue and has an underline, then it opens up this information window. And what he wants to do is upload a version for review for the manager to look at. So all you do is click that bit to open the task, go to versions, and that's where you upload the latest version of it. You can upload any file in here if you want to put in a flash file, a JPEG. We're kind of going to be using it for review JPEGs mostly. So just like do a JPEG export of your work and put it in here for review. So I nicked one of Ed's things. I'll just put it in there. This one's a video file, but it could be anything. You could just put a JPEG or Flash or
use
whatever.
Swifts and stuff as well.
Do what?
SWFs,
I think so. I don't think it will play Swifts through the player, but it should let managers download it and things. So Ed's uploaded that, and then he just needs to change the status of the task to ready for review. And then it'll go yellow. Well, hey. And then on the manager's side, they'll get a notification that that task is ready for review. And then they can go in and review it. So if I click that asset and go to versions, I can see the version that Ed's uploaded. If I then click on it, again, you've got to click on like the blue bit to open the next menu. So that blue underline bit, click on that, and then you can review things. I think if you hit this review button, there's like some other links like Hero and RV that we're not using. So if you just hit Launch Web Player, it will open a review session. Here we go. And then this is like an empty review session. So to go into it and like load the thing you want to review, managers just need to click on the asset. And that's good if you want to review multiple things. Maybe production have set up a review of like 5 shots that you need to look at. They'd all be queued up in this bottom bit, and you just click on the one you want to load, and then it appears. And this is pretty awesome. So the manager can, I don't know, circle this bit and go, that's great, and write a little note like, awesome, but change something. I think you can also tag people if you want, if you press @ and then type their username, or maybe not. But Ed is assigned to the shot, so he'll get notifications for all of these comments. Then the manager, once they've entered their notes, just needs to set the status of the task to addressing notes, which is the next one. So addressing notes, so hey, it goes back to blue, and Ed gets a notification that he's got some notes on here. Ed does the notes and then uploads a new version in the same way. I won't do it all again because you saw it.
Mark,
yeah.
Could a manager download the image, work on it in Photoshop, and re-upload it as a correction?
Definitely, yeah. So if they go into versions and they see this, they just have to click on the blue bit, and then yeah, they can download it there. So if I hit download, it'll save it, and then yeah, you just upload in exactly the same way. You just drag and drop it into the versions bit.
Cool.
And I think you can just comment like directly on here as well. So if you don't want to go into that note viewer, the manager could just upload a new version and then write a note like, "See new version, it's so much better." Yeah, so you can do notes in that way if you like, but especially I guess if it's video, doing it in the player is good because it associates it with a moment. So
do you know if that in-frame works with the Cintiq? Because sometimes web things don't always work, and it's a pain.
I think
so it might be worth testing.
I think it does in
Okay.
Chrome. So I tried doing it in Safari, and it doesn't have browser support for the annotations, but Chrome does, and it's been pretty good. Yeah, then Ed would work on those notes, and then when he'd set it back to ready for review. The same process would happen again, and then at the point that the manager is happy with it, they just need to change the status to approved. Right. Now, approved is still yellow because at the moment the way it's set up is that it's been approved by the artist and the manager, but needs client sign-off. So at the point at which it's approved here, it's still in the in progress bit in case any other notes from the client need to come in. So at that point, production would check it and maybe send it in a review session to Cheng or something. And then when it's been signed off there, production basically would change it to client ready, so they know that it needs to be seen by the client. Client note if notes need to be done, and then the artist gets a notification, or ready to send. And at the point that it's ready to send to Atomic, and sometimes you have to refresh your window if changes aren't showing up, and you're like, oh, why isn't that there? Just do a refresh. Oh, it did show it there. Then it moves to the done column in Ed's view. And that's kind of the process of doing a shot. It should definitely help with like assigning things, and then you don't have to go through those mega breakdowns. You've just got them all in here. And we're going to be putting thumbnails into these bits as well as we upload the tasks. So you'll see like the thumbnails of the tasks as you go through, which should be should be kind of nice.
Can you access other people's stuff to see what they need to do?
So at the moment, artist view can't. But what production have been doing is assigning shots to everybody, and then the managers are like taking people off it when they've decided who wants to do it. Okay. So at initial upload stage, everyone can see all the tasks for that episode, and then you get removed from them as the managers assign them, which we could change if it turns out that's not working and you want to change it, then we can. It's kind of easy to change like these statuses and how it works. So if you want to move any of this around, then tell us and we can, because if something's not working, you're like, oh, I wish there was a status for this, or like if the way you're doing reuses isn't working or something like that, then yeah, just say and we can change around the system settings. There might actually be a way to look at what other people are doing if you go to. So there's a couple of ways to view things. There's this task board, which we're imagining most artists will use. There's the kind of project view, which we're imagining production and the managers will use. But if you go to filters in the project view, you hit this little icon here, and then you can filter by task. So if you just want to see keyline tasks, and you want to filter by assignee, so you just want to see keyline tasks that I don't know, Victorin is working on. Oh, there's none. Let me find, if I put Louis in, then it will just show you keyline tasks that Louis is working on. And if you want to see ones that are finished or ones that are in progress, that's a kind of quick way of filtering how you see that stuff. The other option, and you can save that as a view, so if you've put that information in and that's how you like seeing things, you just go to view up here, and then you can save it as like a view, so that you don't have to, because every time you refresh the page it will go back to default, and you'll lose all the filters that you put in unless you hit save as and get it in a way that you like it, and then it will show up here, and yeah, you can keep going back to it or share it with someone else. So if you have a view that you've set up that you want to send to an artist so they can view it in the same way, you just hit share with everyone, and then it saves it as that. I think if you go manage views, it lets you share your view with other people. Then if you didn't want to do it like that with filters, the other option is dashboards, and that's here. So if I go to user tracking, there's a dashboard view like this, and then that lets you see tasks that are assigned to users. So I guess if you wanted to see that view, we could set that up. Yeah, so at the moment you click on Ed and it shows you the tasks that he's going to do. Oh, I need to remove that test run, so I'll get rid of that. Yeah, that's kind of it, I think. Do you want to talk, Tam, about where we're saving files, or shall I do that?
I think I might send out an email with a bit of an instruction for different departments, because it's going to be different for different departments. But basically, because ftrack is replacing how you have been using the breakdown, but it's also replacing how you've been using the design review folders. And the design review folders have become like massive unwieldy beasts that only ever suits pre-production, doesn't suit production. So we won't be using them anymore. Everything will go through here unless it's on an existing episode that you're working on. So because you'll be uploading your work for review on ftrack, we'll rework how you're saving your files, which I've just spoken to Clement about your department already. I haven't spoken to Raf about character yet, so we'll come to that. And I wanted to check with Baptiste how it works best for him. So I think during the day-to-day, I'll send a sort of directive of like where you work, where you save your work to, where you save your reviews to, and where you save the final files to. Just so that we simplify the process, because at the moment all the departments seem to be working in a slightly different way, and the server is a bit of a mess because of it. So if we go back in a year's time to try and find an asset, it's actually going to be really, really difficult. It should be much more formulaic than it is at the moment. So I'll send that out later on today.
But we're imagining you're not really uploading Photoshop files to ftrack. It's more of like a review platform. So we were thinking ftrack is the place for like JPEGs that you're exporting that you just want comments on, and then
or
keeping
MP4s for FX and
then keeping big Photoshop files on the server. But you can upload Photoshop files to it if you want to.
Just uses a lot of space.
Yeah.
And then we have to buy more.
Do you know if you can go frame by frame in the viewer, or if it's just frame pause?
I think if you use the
It
up and
should
down
go
arrow
okay.
keys, I think it does. Yeah.
Yeah, you can annotate within that,
Yeah.
and
Awesome.
then it saves out a JPEG with your animation. So when you go to the
You
review
get
file,
this-
you,
yeah,
you
each
can see
frame.
it pulled out.
Cool.
Is there a way of automatically notifying between departments when assets are ready? So say Litz is working on a prop that needs a background, like if that background is then checked off as complete, is there a seamless way of Litz getting a notification, or would production have to
At the
join the
moment,
dots?
production would have to join the dots by like assigning it to a new person or creating a new task, I guess.
Okay.
There is a way to set up dependencies, but
It's going to be so few and far between at the moment that it's not really worth us doing a whole bit of coding on.
Mhm.
So for the moment, if, for example, Elizabeth's doing a prop that she's only doing in grayscale because it needs colour information, then she would let Cara or me know, and we would just let the colour team know that they need to send the file back to her as well when they're completed, and then she's only able to complete her task to 70%, and then 100% once she's got the colour files back, or if we're indeed addressing the colour in the end.
So at the moment we're putting notes like that in the description part of a task. So for example this one, last shot to do as this will be informed by Baptiste Pass on to Neon City Shop. So that's kind of where we're putting things like that at the moment. But yeah.
And also the props, what the tasks are. I've just put it in the description,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
this is a pencil or this is a whatever.
And is there a way of marking like a high priority shot compared to like a B-list shot?
Definitely, yeah. So if I go to this one, in the same way that you set a status, if you go to where's the row? You can set a priority, and I'm just remembering how to do that. So I think, yeah, here it is. So if you want to change what these headers are, you just go to the settings cog.
Can you zoom in a bit, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
So you go to the settings cog up here, and then attributes, task, where's priorities? There, task priority. That will appear along here somewhere. Might have to refresh it. Oh, it's not. Rubbish. Because it's got a filter on
There is a priority box now at the bottom.
Maybe
Right.
everything is listed as priority right now.
it. Everything is high
Oh
priority.
no, wait, if you
It's just-
go back, I think underneath you have to select what priority you want to be looking at.
Okay. Which I think I've turned all the filters off now.
If we go back to it.
If I go to a task. Weird. But you can set it, so if you click on the thing and then go to info, there's status which is not ready, and then priorities you've got urgent, high, medium, low. So if something's urgent you can set that. And then I guess I've just got to work out how you view it. I don't know, have I done that right? How you view
I think-
priorities?
Can
Did it
you go
save?
back to your filter?
Go on to the settings.
If you do it on one of Ed's tasks, and then you can look at the artist and how it if it recolors it or something.
Okay. I'll go to that task. You go to
Ed,
Ed.
this is me to conduct professionally. Okay.
So priority urgent. And then in Ed's view, it says urgent.
Hey.
In the smallest writing possible.
So bad I can't see.
Can you not see it?
No.
I think that's a bigger problem.
So yeah, if you set priority as urgent there for the artist view, it comes up.
Let's just carry on like this.
But I think when you're trying to set it up, if you go back to filter, like underneath priority, then it showed you the different types of priority, and then I think if you click urgent, then it's going to show it. That's what wasn't showing it.
Hey, nice. So now it's just showing. I'll make that one not urgent anymore.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's a good way. If you want to see urgent tasks assigned to someone, you could use the filters to do that.
There should be a way to make it so it comes up with priority in the top bar as well, so you can just like
discuss the Baptiste, but BG9 has like a hierarchy of notes. So like someone would say, review, then I review it, but Baptiste wouldn't want to see it. But then once I have, he would need to. So I don't know how that would work.
We can set up different statuses for different departments if you want to.
Can I say something about it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just like because they're in the background department, there's like Victorine and Louis, which are who are leads. I'm just wondering if there's a way to know that they approved things from their team before showing up to the approved session for me.
Yeah, well, there's a few different statuses that are similar to approved. If you could just click on the statuses, just have a look.
Okay.
So, for example, there's approved, or there's client ready. So if it's set as approved, we could have it so if it's set as approved, then it's approved by Victorine and Louis, and then if it's set as client ready, then it's approved by you. But what we just need to know is whether you're approving everything to client ready, or whether some of the shots are just going through as approved, and then obviously some things are going to go to Chang, and then they'll be marked as ready to send. So how we use those different statuses, I think we'll have to kind of work out on the hoof a little bit for background, because it's a bit different.
I have other questions as well. Is it everything's working like on an iPad, for instance, or an iPhone?
Yeah, it's a website.
So it's like a just regular website. It's not too heavy to work on on another device, right?
No, in fact, you'll probably find it much easier than doing than doing reviews the way you've been doing on Ding with JPEGs, because JPEGs are shrunk down and managed by this better.
Okay, cool.
And then obviously, if you need to hand PSDs back and forth for something that you want to work on, then that we'll have to carry on doing by Ding, I think.
Okay. Right, thanks.
I think it's got an app as well, but
don't download the app, it's terrible.
But don't use the app.
It's terrible.
Yeah, if you just do it through a browser, we'll send you out your logins, and it's just wildseed.ftrackapp.com.
Everybody has that.
You've got your logins.
I sent everything on Friday.
Right.
Did anybody not receive their emails on Friday or this morning? I sent everything out on Friday.
Yeah, I got one.
In case
Make sure you all change your passwords on login.
You have to, it forces you to do it. So.
No, it
No, it
didn't.
didn't.
It did for me, it was like, change your password.
No, don't.
What, on F-Track?
Yeah, when I logged in the first time.
It's fickle.
So thanks everybody. There's going to be a bit of transition, obviously, because we're changing process mid-production, which is never ideal. But we can always do a secondary training session once we know more about what we don't know. You know what I mean? And there's various ways in which you can get help and support, either directly from myself or Mark or Dylan, or via the Ding channel that Dylan's set up for questions on ftrack, which it might be worth everybody kind of keeping an eye on, because we'll probably all come up with the same questions to save Dylan answering 10 questions that are exactly the same. But yeah, just let us know if you have any problems using it. And as everybody moves on to the next episodes, production will be using the breakdowns just to plan what's going into ftrack. You won't have access to the breakdowns anymore. So where you're still working on an episode that you're working from the breakdown, then you'll still have access to that one. But the next episode that you work on, it'll just be, everything will be on ftrack. And then eventually it'll just get to the place where you've got a really simple board in front of you with all your tasks on. You're just clicking and moving them as you're working. And the amount of time that you need to spend looking for information that you need to work is going to go right down. It's just going to be a little bit of a transition while we all get used to the system. So thanks for being patient with us, and I think it'll be worth it.
Thanks.
Any initial questions from anybody?
No.
Thanks, Steve.